You do the intro this time because I'm tired of it. And
Normally, when I got that one, I'm shitting out my mouth and diarrhea out my ass. I hire a hooker to come over and make her watch.
I think on that note that we should let Kevin take on that.
that sounds terrible. Fucking.
I don't think he's done an intro yet.
No, I did. I said, "Welcome to the Rob and Kevin Experience featuring Dennis."
Yeah, he usually joins in on the intros because he can't not talk for that 90 seconds. So I'm looking.
I think we.
So Dennis,
Dennis,
before you showed up, we were looking at the phobias came up, and I'm currently trying to find a fear of like speaking in intros. I wonder if there's a fear of making podcasts.
Right.
There is not.
Is that like a genuine fear for you right now?
No,
I think it's
fear
for
of
you.
Fear of shitting yourself also doesn't come up.
Why would you be afraid of that? That's a good time.
Oh, terrible. All right, which one of you two is going to do the intro?
Kevin.
Kevin.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So like here we are and stuff. That guy who says things, and like that other guy who talks some stuff, and then the one guy who's only here once in a while, and we're live.
Wait, was that your intro, or was that you telling us how you were going to do it?
No, that was my intro.
Okay, Dennis, your turn.
No, I think that's the perfect segue at this point. I'm not quite sure which guy he was talking about when he said that guy or this guy, but I think I know which guy he was talking about when he said the other guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and the guy that's only here sometimes. I think that was
The guy with the stuff.
Yeah, with the thing from the thing.
All right, I'll do a real one. I don't know. I'll try. Okay, I'm ready. All right, faithful listeners. MotoGP podcast number, who the fuck cares at this point, has returned. We're here with Rob, who will be joining the Laguna Parade Circus and like 4 guys this weekend. So if you see, go out and watch him. And Dennis, the faithful leader who abandoned us, has returned like the prodigal son that he is to announce things with impeccable accents. And, and then there's me, the great reverend of thy golden god, Rossi.
Thy Church of Rossi.
Right, exactly.
Episode 14, by the way. Not that it really
Episode
matters.
14.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Reverend Kevin, what is episode 14 about?
What do you know what's it about? We just had a sweet race. The Sachsenring, the GoPro MotoGP, where there was GoPro cameras on everything, including the trophies.
Which was
fine, sweet.
It was kind of ridiculous, and it was like too many selfie sticks for me. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Dude, they banned selfie sticks at Disneyland. It's not just
those damn teenagers and their rock and roll music and their reefer.
But so yeah, why was it a sweet race, Kev?
It was an excellent race because we saw Danny return to form. Some people have been wondering, and we all know he kind of has a slow, to get back up to fitness, but he was able to get on the podium convincingly. Marc Marquez's return to race-winning ways, building on Assen, and having pretty much a perfect weekend. And Jesus himself, again, when you can't win and you're having a bad weekend, still salvaging a podium, his 9th in a row this season and his 14th in a row if you count last year, and somehow miraculously extending his point lead. There's a lot of stories came out of this weekend, but I do think that two race weekends ago he was only up by 1 point, and now we head into the summer break somehow having gained 13 points in the guy who had 4 wins in a row.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty awesome for him to be able to put that performance together. And like to me, it didn't look like he was going to have that sort of race based on the rest of the weekend. I mean, he did well early in the practice, but he kind of qualified back in his normal. Well, he was on the second row, so thankfully wasn't in 8th position. But still, like I really thought with Danny's return, it was going to be much more difficult for Rossi to get on the box this time. But once again, him and Gavasera just like pulled it out in warm up and found him some awesome race pace, and he made it back onto the box. Like, how could this season not go more perfect for him? Like Jorge wins 4 in a row, and then he gets has 2 races where he makes up points. It's crazy.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to imagine 3 guys having a better race than him at this point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he'll lose to Jorge. Yeah, he'll lose to Marquez. Maybe he even loses to Danny. But day in and day out, it's hard for all 3 of those guys don't have a good weekend. Something's always up with either Jorge or Marquez this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with one of them has a problem. Every fucking race. It's whether it's Jorge and his weird issue with the tires. They change the tires and he can't adapt, or Marquez kind of having a bad bike and then a Franken-style bike, and then it just his 2 main rivals seem to, when one doesn't have a problem, the other one does, and vice versa. And there he is to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, funny thing about Jorge, like the temperature was pretty high on Sunday. I really thought that he wasn't going to have trouble with the rear tire, because he didn't seem to have trouble with it earlier in the weekend. But then come the race, he like had a pretty good first 2 laps, and then
pretty good. I gotta give Jorge credit. That first turn was fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, the outside to inside pass up into what is called the Omega corner or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Rossi, the Alpha and the Omega.
Yeah, and they didn't Marquez hit him, right? Like they actually.
I think he bumped Danny actually.
Oh, was it Danny?
Yeah, he hit them.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty awesome line to be able to go around the outside of them, like on the first lap. Like I still don't understand how those guys can make it look like they're pushing harder than they do on all the other race laps in the first corner. Like it's that,
that's been kind of Jorge's forte. It's amazing that he's really established 60 degrees of lean on the first fucking corner, passing 2 guys on the outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, oh god damn. Well, that's why they're in MotoGP, right?
Yeah. Are you yawning because of beers, or yawning because you're tired?
Oh, me? Oh, I've been working on the bike.
Or are you yawning because you're so boring, you're boring yourself?
I can't. It could be possible that I'm boring myself.
Okay.
Hey, just real quick. So did Jorge have a problem with the rear tire, not the front tire?
Yeah, it was all the rear tire. So the front tire was fine, but in the post-race interview, he pretty much said that he just started losing grip. He actually didn't really say edge grip. He was mostly talking about grip like for drive and then eventually later on in the race, he was losing grip on corner entry as well.
Yeah, I just found it interesting because I thought, the build up to the weekend, it was the front tire that was being made out to be like the key component for the race, but it's the rear, I guess, for Lorenzo.
Yeah, I mean, Jorge complained about the rear tire, this specific rear tire with the heat-resistant layer on the edge. Like, if it's not blisteringly hot, or if it's not at least warm like it was at Mugello, then the tire just doesn't work for him.
He's had a problem with that heat-resistant layer.
Yeah,
it's never worked with his riding style.
Yeah, because it's that heat-resistant layer is only like on the very edge of the tire. So if he can't get like good feel and good grip out of the edge, he just loses his primary advantage over everyone else. But that's why I find it to be so weird, is because the problems that he described to me didn't scream like edge grip.
He described to you. That's cool. He called up Rob. He's like, "Let me tell you about this shit, Rob."
Sorry, describe, to me. Never mind. Whatever.
What the fuck?
Grammar is important, children. Grammar is important.
It's okay. Do you have valet on speed dial yet, Kevin? Has he gotten wind of your preaching from last weekend?
Every speed dial on Kevin's phone is Rossi, and Rossi just doesn't pick up.
Yeah, exactly. The only people that ever pick up are like the cops, and they keep telling me cease and desist letters are in the mail, and it's illegal.
In Italian.
Wait, so how do you say cease and desist in Italian then?
I don't know. Golden
Desiste.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, the speed dial number 9 has to be Uccio. There's
yeah, think about it, though. Have you ever seen me and Uccio in the same place at the same time? No.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. But yes, so apparently Jorge has me on speed dial, and he describes these problems, and yet,
That's cool.
yeah. But I don't
Speaking
know.
of Italians on speed dial and problems, goddamn, Dovizioso.
Ah,
Yeah.
he has
Well,
problems on
I
the
don't
speed
know. I
dial.
mean, is he? Are you guys really gonna make a? Are you kind of seeing a big deal out of the current trend that the Vizioso's on? I mean, for the most part, some of them aren't exactly his fault.
Right, he cracked tail unit and a shredded
Sprocket.
rear sprocket, but I'm not making as big of a deal out of it as some other people want to. I mean, dude has 4 podiums in 9 races, and it's like 4 second places. He's been good. He just had a weird run of odd Ben Spies like luck. You know
That's
what I mean?
that's what I was gonna say. This is the Spies at his final year at Yamaha sort of luck at the moment. Like
Right.
if the bike isn't breaking on him, then he tucks the front and goes down. But yeah, I honestly I think I jinxed him because I called it that he would have a comeback race, and obviously that was not the case. So it's my fault.
Right.
Yeah, I need to get suspended from Barf, and then he'll have a good race.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Oh man. I don't know. I mean, the Ducati, it seems like the Duck is standing still, whereas the other two, the Honda and the Yamaha, are still actively improving. Like maybe the Yamaha's not improving that much compared to the first couple of races, um, but the Honda is definitely improving right now. Like Marquez is kind of getting his stuff together. Danny's coming back fitness wise, and obviously has a pretty good handle on the setup in his completely different chassis. So, so
I'm
yeah,
not entirely sold on the Honda resurgence, though. The Sachsenring flatters the Honda pretty big. If you want to have a race that where the Honda's going to do good, that's the track to do it on. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
it's counterintuitive, right? Because Sachsenring is just all on the edge of the tire. But I guess what people have been saying is that masks the issues because they don't have to brake hard into a corner and also carry a bunch of corner speed. Like
Right.
the hard braking zones at Sachsenring, you just get in there, get it stopped, and turn and go. There's no like long sweeping sections. Like
Right, which is why they didn't even go for the asymmetric front tire like everyone else did. They just went for, up and down braking stability.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, both riders said that they had more feel in the asymmetric tire, but the harder one just gave them so much more stability that they could use that. So, but yeah, I mean, I do agree with you that Sachsenring kind of masked their issues, and it's not a complete resurgence. But at the same time, Danny is definitely on a resurgence right now. Like he's probably at like 95% fitness right now at the moment. And I have to
Right.
expect that he's going to continue to do these sort of performances for the rest of the year until, knock on wood, he hurts himself again or something. Hopefully he
Yeah,
does.
which will prove interesting for the championship because now all of a sudden there's 2 guys who can get on the podium with some, a little more regularity and consistency that aren't in the championship.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just means that like it could be a first for a Yamaha and a fourth for a Yamaha, and that's actually a big point swing.
Yeah, huge. I mean, or you can see that the difference of where Rossi would be even by getting passed by Danny and not is big. He could have had a lot more points on Jorge than just the 13.
Yeah, he'd be 17 up, which is considerably closer to, a full race. So,
Right.
Wait a minute.
That's getting close to a DNF protection.
yep.
Are you both counting out Marquez for the title?
Am I counting out Marquez? Pretty
Yes.
much. Barring some kind of miraculous thing, I don't think Marquez has any chance at the title.
Interesting.
There's
You won't even. You won't. Go ahead.
there's 9 races left, right? And he is how
Yeah.
many points behind?
65.
Yeah, I say he's over 60 points back.
Yeah, 65. So if the championship leader got third and he won every single round, he would just barely win it. Right? Because
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I'm inclined to say that I think it's very, very difficult, but I can't say it's impossible.
Well, I didn't say it's impossible. I just said, barring some kind of like 2002 Colin Edwards, miracle, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see Marquez winning 9 more races, not with the problems they've had so far, and I don't see Rossi I don't see Rossi off the podium a whole lot.
Not with his current consistency. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're talking about is there a Honda resurgence, but we're still talking about Yamaha's won 7 of 9 races so far. You know what I mean? So you're talking about if something changes that second half of the season, it's a complete flip of the first half. And, it's not like the Yamaha riders are complaining about problems. Their bike is pretty darn refined. It's just minute setup and some tire issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only one complaining is Jorge, and it's only tires. And I guess if we ever heard anything from Pole, he'd be complaining too, but that's mostly his fault.
Right. And, again, when Jorge has problems, maybe he's off the podium, but when he's on, he wins 4 straight. You know what I mean? I just don't see Rossi and Jorge neither of them winning a race for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think someone asked Rossi that in the post-race press conference, right? How would you feel about winning the title if you don't win another race? And he pretty much just said, let's hope it doesn't happen or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen because, the Honda, Marquez could win at Indy, he could win at Aragon, he could win in Motegi, and maybe in Sepang. But, Brno, Silverstone, Misano, the Yamaha is going to have such an advantage at those tracks where you...
Right, Phillip Island...
Yeah, Phillip Island too. Those tracks where you have to carry mad corner speed after braking, Marquez is going to have trouble there. And even if because Danny's on a completely different chassis, even if Danny does have good setup at those places and can get the bike to turn properly, that still leaves one of at least one of the Yamahas on the podium and probably what the Yamaha's winning at those rounds still. So,
yeah. And I'm not convinced that Marquez suddenly became a super mature rider who's good. The Sachsenring flatters the Honda, but he gets into another knockdown, drag-out fight with Rossi or Lorenzo on basically a Frankenstein bike that they're kind of piecemealing together to make it work. We haven't seen. We've only seen it happen once on the new version of the bike, and he nearly caused himself to crash and caused another rider to crash. You know what I mean? Yeah. He collided with a guy and ran onto AstroTurf. He could have just as easily crashed that race.
Yeah, and then the champ.
I'm not ruling Marquez out with another DNF or 2. In fact, I'm almost positive he'll have at least another DNF.
You think so?
I think so.
Where do you think he's going to crash?
I don't know, because I think he'll do something stupid. It won't come down to whether the Honda's working well or not. It'll just come down to the situation because he gets hot-headed and doesn't. Like I said, it's easy to look like a mature, stable rider, in Germany when you're on a track that suits you and you're way ahead and you've got your teammate way behind you. It's a little easier to look smooth and clean. It's different when you got to try and catch up and override a bike. It's like we've talked before. Can he accept not winning? Dennis said he doesn't think he can, and he's proved it so far.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when riders are only pushing at 95% instead of 105, and that was the case for Marquez in Sachsenring. He was definitely not riding at his 105% level, which he had to in a lot of the previous rounds. But so you don't think that if he bins it, you don't think it's going to happen at a track where the Yamaha is stronger? You think it just could be anywhere?
No, I think it's just going to happen at a track where something I think it's going to be a dumb mistake.
Yeah.
He's going to have a fucked up qualifying or something like that. Who knows? He was kind of, hold on. I'm coughing like a motherfucker. Smoking all those heaters after Rossi won, man. That was some good sex.
Oh man, continue your podcast.
What the fuck was I saying? Oh, I think it'll come down to him having a battle with someone and getting frustrated and attempting to override. I just don't think the bike gives him that kind of like superb confidence and extra to make those crazy balls out passes and moves. This year it's unstable when he tries that stuff. I just think it's going to bite him again.
You think he'll crash out of the lead, or you think he'll crash like battling with someone? Like
No, he'll crash battling for someone with someone. He'll crash like battling for third.
Oh man, like I mean, he's done it already, but yeah,
Right.
For the rest of the championship, like insult to injury there. Just like
Right.
you're barely on the podium, and yet you're gonna go down. He'll probably, you know what, he'll probably goad him into crashing out of third.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. At Motegi or something like that, where Iannone is going to be doing probably super good. Again, a track it's going to flatter the Ducatis, and he'll be frustrated. And Iannone is not going to back down because he's the only other rider that's not going to back down to Marquez's antics other than Rossi.
Yep. Yeah, just those two, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how Jorge is going to respond at the next round, because he kind of, like, we already know he responds so much to confidence changes, So, like, is he going to take that fourth place to heart and just blow Indy, or is he going to go like, oh, Indy doesn't have that silly heat resistant layer anymore, so maybe I can win this one.
Right, exactly. We don't have to worry about that asymmetric front, so I'm just going to win. I know I can win this one, so he'll win it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I don't know.
He's going to have to respond, though, because 2 races he won 4, clawed back to within 1 point of the championship, and then his title rival, the guy that's like twice as old as him, fucking puts a 13-point gap between them.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean,
Dennis, stop talking so much.
Yeah. What's up, Dennis?
No, I'm just listening. I mean, for the most part,
you listen to that butter? What's up?
No, I mean, as far as speaking about Lorenzo, I don't think he's done for, so to speak, or I don't think he's got a problem per se that's gonna prevent him from pulling off what he just did, not too long ago, which is win 4 straight races. I'm not saying he's gonna win another 4 straight races, but I think that, especially with Sachsenring being mostly, as Kevin said earlier, a track that favors Honda, I don't think it's an indication of where Lorenzo's season is going to be for the rest of it. I think he'll take it to Rossi still. I think he'll bring it.
Yeah, so
it'll be interesting because it started at Indy last year was when Rossi really turned the page. You go back and look at the results of that last year is really when him and Gabelseri found something, and he went from a couple of podiums and this and that to a run of a bunch of podiums, a couple wins, and really on the streak. Really. Going for it. It'll be interesting because this whole year, if you look at his results from this year to last year, he basically improved his result at every single track, improved or equaled his results from every track last year up till now, and by pretty big margins. A couple of them, he's been on the podium every race. And last year was when he was on the podium at the start of the second half of the season. He was on the podium the rest of the season. So if the trend continues and he's able to improve his results, we're going to be seeing more wins from him.
Yeah, I mean the major difference from last year was like Coda, and even Assen last year he wasn't even on the box, so it's good to see that improvement. Right. But you got to remember too, Jorge,
even at Assen he was 5th, and at Aragon or at Argentina he was 4th. He won both those races. Yeah. So 2 of his worst races last year he won this year.
No, he got 3rd at Coda this year. You're crazy.
No, I didn't say Coda. I said Argentina and Assen. At Argentina, yes. He got 4th last year. He won this year, and then in a titanic battle with Marquez. And then last year at Assen, he got 5th, and this year he got 1st again with a battle with Marquez.
Yeah, you do have to remember though that Jorge scored more points in the second half of the season than anyone did last year. So, like, it's kind of interesting because Jorge's been. Like, he had those amazing first... Huh?
Last year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jorge outscored everyone in the second half of the season last year.
What I'm saying is if you look at Rossi's performance last year, that was when he kind of really stepped it up and had his kind of lead into this year. And if he's improving basically every race from last year, you're looking at improvement. If he improves the second half of the season this year, he's going to be winning a lot of races.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm saying the same. I'm saying that Jorge did the same exact thing. So I think those two are going to go toe to toe for the whole second half of the season.
Wait, that should prove interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be nice because the second half of the season, both of them were pretty much on the box at every single round, except for when Rossi crashed in Aragon and when Jorge crashed at Valencia. So,
Right.
so it's very likely they're gonna do that again. Like they know that these tracks are gonna suit the Yamaha even more this year. They have really good setup from last year, and barring any conditions being different, and they have that confidence knowing that they can pull it off, and they're gonna be fighting for the title. Like,
Right, which is a whole different ballgame than fighting for the guy who just won 10 straight and, who knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's tooth and nail for the title, and it's Jorge's chance to redeem himself, and it's Rossi's last hurrah chance to win one more, have one more miraculous title.
oh man, it's
I
gonna.
mean, either one of those guys winning the title is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. I mean, considering how much Marquez dominated it last year, like it's gonna be nuts for either of them to duke it out, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. But so you said last hurrah. You don't think Valet's got it in him again for
Another
next year?
title. I'm not going to ever count the guy out again. Another title? Probably not.
Well, I mean,
Oh my God.
but
There you go.
everything.
There you go.
I think everything could change next year, right? Like he could be.
Well, it's
like,
funny. I didn't even think about it. I totally forgot that. The 17s and the Michelins. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
He like Rossi has seen it all. He's ridden on Michelins before on like crazy different bikes. Like I don't think he's ever raced on 17-inch wheels, but at the same time, all of his experience of adapting to all of those different formats has to give him something.
I mean, he's pretty much proven to be the most adaptable rider there has ever been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The amount of things that he's won on, bikes, tire combinations, eras, riding styles, manufacturers, it's ridiculous.
I mean, he switched tires
Yeah.
mid-season and still managed to win.
He didn't switch mid-season. Danny did, but he switched after 2007, starting 2008.
Oh, that's right.
It was
Yeah.
Danny that switched mid-season.
Yep. My mistake.
So,
Either way.
Kevin, just so I get this straight, you don't think that Rossi has another title in him?
No. Now that it's been brought up, I think he's going to win every single race for the rest of the next 3 years.
No, but I'll do this one. I will say this now since we're done with the first half of the season. I will say that I do think Ross is going to win the title this year.
I'm gonna agree with you there.
The whole fucking world hopes you're right.
Yeah, seriously. Even the Rossi haters. I was a little.
It's hard to discount him because I mean just the consistency alone and his ability to score crucial points, but he's the guy who effectively is riding the same bike and tires as Lorenzo, but he, again, like you've already said, the adaptability. So you have the consistency and adaptability of a seasoned rider who's already ahead in the points championship halfway through the season. Like you said, barring some kind of freak accident or whatever, I can't personally say that he's not going to win the title this year.
His consistency this year is out of control. Like we were saying before, like with Marquez or Lorenzo have a problem, there's Rossi. His problem is getting a third.
Yeah.
He's
the one guy
on the
who
box
can
every race.
Yeah, he's the one guy who can
problem.
capitalize on whatever problems the rest of the grid might have.
Right.
I want all four of them to duke it out for the win, and throw in a duck there just in case.
Okay, yeah. Now what do you mean? What are we watching, a video game now? Come on, man.
No, now he's talking about 2016 because I do think that if that's closer to reality than any other time, it would be next year.
No, there's no way because someone will miss the bike design or something. Someone will screw up the electronics. Like, come on, it took when the format changed to 800 cc's, it took Honda forever to actually make a bike that had good front end feel and could be ridden the way that bike needed to be.
Right, and the Suzuki was suddenly, looked like a miracle bike as soon as it had Bridgestones with the tire rule in 2017. All of a sudden, John fucking Hopkins was getting second place and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
The 2017 is going to be real, or 2016 is going to be interesting because someone's going to get it wrong. I'm more interested in who gets it wrong than necessarily who gets it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and the
Okay,
like,
but see, Honda got it wrong in 2007. You don't think that HRC would have learned from that mistake?
but learn what?
Especially after the
But these are brand new tires.
yeah.
You can't apply what you learned from previous mistakes and essentially go like, oh yeah, we'll make a great
Well, no,
bike.
I was talking about like the electronics because we're going into spec electronics. So if we're talking strictly about the change in tires, you guys think that's a change in tires and the wheel size is as substantial as, say, the engine
Well, the one thing we
configuration?
know about the Michelins, at least that we know, but the kind of the reports in the rumor mill is that the rear tire has exceptional grip and the front tire has so-so grip. And that
Right.
is pretty much the worst thing in the world for Marquez. It's also not the greatest thing in the world for Danny or Jorge because of their riding styles, kind of throwback to 800 cc's, smooth line stuff. Where I don't really think Rossi's going to care all that much because, again, adaptability and coming from a guy who won championships on 500 cc's. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like Michelin's problem is the solution is like a point and shoot kind of approach to corners.
Well, I think the bikes will ride more like Moto 2 because I mean the Dunlop front tire in Moto 2 isn't that great. Like Marquez and Pole and Bradley have explicitly said so. That's why they kicked the rear out is to generate more braking with the rear and to not load the front so much. Like you got to get the bike to turn somehow, and when you can't overload the front like the Bridgestone, you essentially ride it like a Moto 2 bike. So I'm kind of going to be interested to see who's able to adapt to that. And yeah, I think of the aliens, I think Jorge is going to be the worst off. I think Marquez will, as long as HRC can produce a bike that works with the tires, I think he'll adapt kind of quick. But yeah, not as quick as Rossi though. I think Rossi will have no trouble. But just like the tests, I think we're going to see a lot of front end crashes next year, and probably a lot of crazy like turning the bike on the rear wheel or something. Like if that bike produce or if those tires produce a lot of grip out of the rear tire, maybe they'll have the front tire off the ground through the final like through the entire chicane.
Right, and if the question comes up that like we kind of heard that Dorno was sort of telling them like we want tires that go off,
Yeah.
Predictably, but that go off. That's going to put a lot of strategy and late race, shenanigans into effect, which, obviously favor the guy who doesn't qualify all that well, but has race pace day in and day out.
Yeah, like Argentina, right? Like
Right.
just come through the field and just have something for the end of the race. I mean, even Dovi and Cal did pretty solid at Argentina as far as, they didn't push too hard at the front and they had some tire at the end of the race. So, yeah, it very well could mix things up quite a bit. Like instead of having four guys go off at the front and stay there the entire race, we could have like the whole top eight kind of like blend together and flip over by the end.
Right, which is why you're going to see the most boring, silly season ever.
Exactly.
Because no one's going to take any chances, because if you take a chance and put a whole new rider on it, then you don't know the difference between you know what I mean? Like, you don't know the difference between if it's the bike or if it's the tire or the bike or what's changed. No, they're going to want to keep everything, as many constants as they can, because the electronics and the tires changing in one big fell swoop.
Yeah,
and last time we changed two major rule changes in a row, like in 2007 with the tire rule, and the limited allocation rule and the engine size. Half the grid got it really right.
And didn't 2007 bring a reduced fuel limit too, right?
Right. It was a whole bunch of stuff all at once.
Yeah, well, so before
which means, of course, that Bradley Smith will still be on the Tech 3 Yamaha.
Hold on. Before we get into silly season, Dennis wants to talk about the spec electronics. And,
all right.
And yes, Dennis, for your question 5 minutes ago, I do think that the tires are going to be a considerably larger factor for the performance next year than the spec electronics. Because
no, what I meant to ask is whether it'd be a bigger challenge to the engineers.
Well, because the tires, you have to change the chassis, you have to change the swing arm, you have to change all the damping settings. Like the entire bike has to change when you change the tires, especially because they're going from 16.5s to 17s. But like the carcasses will have a different stiffness. The profile's already different, even though the riders complained about the first front tire that Michelin brought so much that they've made it more shaped like the Bridgestone. Like the tire requires a change in everything. including from the rider and the electronics. So I think after they figure that out, I think the electronics are kind of secondary to all that. And I really think that the expertise of the factories they're just going to like pound through the electronics, and it's going to be like a minor concern to them.
See, I think the opposite.
Really?
Here's the thing, like, when you change dimensions, right, we're talking about changing dimensions of the tires, changing the geometry, changing the measurements. That's all old school engineering moto stuff. That's all stuff that guys, like, draw up on their fucking computers, their CAD drawings, and figure out all the angles and the fucking nerd bullshit and all that, right?
Yeah.
But that's like all old school stuff you're changing. Oh, we're changing some clicks on the rebound.
Yeah,
we have to change the slight measurement of the wheelbase and the angle of the swing arm. But changing the electronics requires like those 5 dudes in the world who actually can do that stuff. It's like a black art, you know what I mean? Like no one really knows how to do that shit. We already covered this, except for like 8 guys.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the spec electronics, they don't get to change anything. They literally...
Yeah, but I think that, again, Honda, all the, the teams are in the electronic freeze now because the rule was you either join the freeze or you have no input in the final software for the electronics.
Yeah.
That software is still going to be complicated as fuck. It's just going to be complicated the same. I have a hard time thinking it's going to be like dumbed down like a BMW fucking RR off the showroom floor electronics. It's still going to be super complex, and there's still going to be guys who can. There's still going to be a premium of guys who can get out of that what other teams just can't get, and no one really knows how they do it.
Well, I mean, I agree that it's definitely going to be complex. Like I read an article before the last podcast saying that they essentially like more than quadrupled the amount of data inputs that you could even for this year. So
right.
There might be a similar change for next year where like maybe they double the amount of data inputs for next year. But
it's fucking Moore's Law, bitch.
Yeah, but the difference between what they have now and that is now they're not just necessarily changing the settings. Now they're actually rewriting the code that uses the settings. So all that code is more of a black art than just modifying the settings.
Right. So all you listeners who don't know what he just said now, just imagine Neo flying into fucking Miss Agent Smith and blowing it up and rewriting the Matrix.
Yeah, so this year is freaking Neo diving into the guy and blowing shit up and rewriting the whole deal. Whereas next year, it's just like, putting the floppy disk in and learning how to fly a helicopter.
Huh. I know Kung Fu.
Exactly. I don't know. That's my prediction. Yes, you're totally right that things are still going to change and the factories still have input. There's a funny thing in the rules right now that there's one.
Only you would say the rules are fucking fun.
Yeah, I know.
Only you would say that.
Let me finish, and then we'll move on to the silly season.
Then I was reading this rule, and Section 3.1, Bylaw 2, can you believe this?
No. So there's one sensor that is open, as in the factories can do whatever the hell they want with it. So some people are speculating that HRC and Yamaha and stuff will essentially write a small computer into there to send out different data than what's actually happening. So instead of just using it as a sensor, they're going to use it as an ECU, and they're going to trick the other. It's
like adding a Sega CD to your Sega Genesis.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're trying to mod. They're trying to mod the freaking spec electronics.
I really just dated myself there.
Yeah, you two are just showing your age right there.
But whatever. Hopefully Dorna cracks down on that, so we don't have any tomfoolery with the
any shenanigans.
Any shenanigans. That's the word I was looking for.
Right.
Yeah, with the electronics. But I don't know. I mean, Ducati was supposedly going to buy, or HRC offered to sell Ducati their inertial platform, which is the sensor that I'm talking about. Yeah, GG kind of just laughed at that one. But whatever. Moving on to so all this stuff totally comes back to the fact that the silly season is going to be boring as shit.
Right, because no one's going to change. No one wants to take any risks And I think no rider wants to either. You know what I mean? Like, let's just stay put, play it safe. Because someone could be like James Toseland style and just not get along with it at all, or Tony Elias style. And then someone might be a fucking revelation, have a contract year. I mean, hell, Paul Espargaro could love the Michelins and just blow shit out of the water. I mean, will we see satellite bikes on the podiums more often? Because other than Cal this year, is any other satellite bike going to get a podium this year?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was just reading an article earlier today about.
You can't read.
Yeah, it was in Moto Matters where I think David Emmett had talked to either a pit crew or a team manager, I can't remember, how they remarked that the same thing happens every year where at the start of the season everybody almost has equal shot at the podium. That's why you see like the satellite teams or say Ducati this year, the first year with the GP15, they had a string of podiums, but as the season ramps up, then it's always going to be the Yamaha and the Hondas like vying for all the podium spots. So they were just saying that it's really nothing new. It's cyclical every year. We're at the very first leg of the season. It's kind of sort of the closest to a open game to everybody. But then the field kind of sharpens or narrows down. It comes back to just Honda and Yamaha.
I don't know, man. Yannone's right there, dude. He just needs to take one little step forward, and he's fighting for podiums. He's only been out of the top 5 like once all year. He's got a shitload of fourths in addition to his podiums. Like, he's right there, man.
Yeah, but that's still...
Yeah.
Dennis was mostly talking about satellite bikes, though, I mean...
Yeah, but he totally said Ducati.
No, I know.
Yeah, Ducati this year because it's the first year of the GP15.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to remember that that hasn't been ran the full season. We kind of forget.
Yeah, and Gigi said that they kind of were, I think you referred to it as like they had a baby was born, but the baby was
Gigi,
fast right off the bat.
It was Davide Tardozzi that said.
Oh, Tardozzi, yeah, exactly.
Tardozzi.
Exactly. Remember when he went and worked for BMW? It was like World War II all over again. Fucking Nazis and Germanys and fucking Italians and shit.
Oh, man. Well, okay, so who do you think... I actually do kind of agree that Pole will probably be one of the biggest surprises next year. He's either going to surprise us...
Don't agree. I didn't say that. Fuck Pole.
No.
I can't agree on that one. I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, what about... So pick your biggest surprise because of the Michelins.
Here, let's think about Pole for a second, though, man. The guy didn't do shit until Marquez left, and who was his number one rival when he won the title? Scott fucking Redding. Where's Scott Redding this year?
He's doing great. He's almost he's only 11 points ahead of the top open bike.
Yeah, he's almost as good as the Colombian dude on the year and a half old Ducati.
Yeah, almost as good. 2 points behind.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so sad for Scott Redding. I mean, I'm just sad that that Scott Redding is he's essentially just wasting a bike. I
don't know if it's a team or if it's him, because I thought he would be doing so much better, but we know that bike's supposedly hard to ride, but god damn, man, that bike he's not even doing as good as open bikes. He's just fuck.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why he has the number, he's got 7th place, which contributed a lot to his point total. So, his worst results other than his DNS are 13ths, and Hector Barbera can get 13ths all day long. So,
dude, fucking Alvaro Bautista just got 13th.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
By the way, me and Rob called that shit. That bike was going to be fucking good not that long in.
It's that factory support, they're working in the correct direction every single round. And I got to imagine that they're going to do kind of what Suzuki's done this year, that they're going to pull something out next year and actually have a bike that works out.
Also, speaking of guys that aren't doing well on bikes, I just want to point out that Michele Pirro is still tied with Nicky Hayden.
Are you serious? Oh, shit.
Still tied.
But Nicky is still beating Eugene by a point.
Yeah.
And Hiroshi Aoyama is still losing to both of them.
That guy's like a 1,000-year-old Japanese guy.
And he only has one finish in the points.
Right.
Oh man. But hey, they're Michael Laverty almost did better than Marco Melandri on his first go.
Speaking of guys that are doing well, Maverick Vinales, what up?
Dude, have you seen any footage of them two battling it out?
I haven't seen any onboard yet. I was so bummed when Aleix passed him right at the end. I really wanted Maverick to get that top 10 and beat Aleix to do it.
Yeah, me too. But no go. Whatever. He's.
I feel pretty confident in my support and call of Maverick this year, though. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he's still beating him in the championship pretty handily because he has finished the first 9 races and scored points in the first 9 races,
right. Which no rookie has ever done.
Which is freaking nuts. I mean, it's kind of showing the same level of talent that he had in Moto 2. Just come out, do better than everyone expects, and be really solid at racing motorcycles.
And ride a really good-looking motorcycle. I mean, really, Dennis. You saw that shit, right, Dennis? I mean, that was one good-looking one-off fucking paint job.
It was like both a sweet throwback and yet still, like, that's how a Suzuki ought to look. You know what I mean?
Right, like, that should be the bike the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
bet they're getting internet pressure to do that. I like the fluorescent yellow and the blue though too. I'm not sure which one I like better. We need to see him more on camera. You know, Aleix needs to be farther up during the race so we can actually watch him battle with people.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I was surprised that he did not do well this race. That he was having to battle with Vinales. A lot of people kind of expected him this to be a track that suited that bike, but I guess it wasn't the case. It goes to show you how much journalists and shitheads, that on podcasts actually know.
Yeah, I mean the Suzuki has better corner speed than any bike on the grid, and Sachsenring is all corners. But unfortunately, I think, Dennis, you were the one that showed me the quote, but Aleix just came out and said that the team missed the setup. So
yeah, they just didn't have setup all weekend long. They just couldn't get the setup.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is another problem with them diving into GP really fast, right? They haven't tested at all the tracks yet. So this will happen, I
still think they're doing pretty damn well for the first season in. That's with a kind of an unproven, we all think he's fast, but no one's really sure in Aleix, and then a rookie who only had one season in the middle class, for Moto2.
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to say earlier how both Aprilia and Suzuki, I think, are actually doing a lot better than we either anticipated or had hoped that they would do. So I think it's good for both of them.
Yeah. So what becomes of this series then in a year and a half when Suzuki and Aprilia have to both have satellite bikes? Like, you think people are going to jump ship really quick?
I think Aspar's it can't wait. I think the Honda production bike is a total bust, and you're going to see, some rich fucking asshole from San Francisco trying to run one in AFM Open class or something like that. But, I think that teams are going to jump ship soon. I think they're chomping at the bit. I think the idea of being third or fourth on the list with Honda, being second for Suzuki or even second for Aprilia might sound better. Because I still think for a smaller company like Aprilia, second at Aprilia is really only kind of junior first. You know what I mean? Like, those bikes are going to be used as testing mules and riding to and getting part updates. Not going to be like a satellite bike in the same that Honda has.
Yeah, I mean, even this year, DeAngelis actually just got the chassis that Bautista started the season on, and he's explicitly on an ART. He's not on an Aprilia, but he got the new chassis. So, they're already supporting their second-tier team right off the bat, for at least Aprilia is. So, yeah.
Right, and I think that second ride at Aprilia is a sleeper, dude. Someone's going to be smart to try and pick that up.
Yeah, so who do you think it's going to be?
God, who? I have no idea.
I mean, do you think Aprilia would bother to sign Nicky?
I think that people got to let go. No, I think that's the worst thing you could do. Stick an old seasoned guy who's running around the pack just to kind of be there. No, they need to do exactly what Suzuki did. They have Alvaro Bautista, someone that they know is fast, someone that works well with the team, and that is going to run and push that bike. Alvaro's doing a hell of a job. I got to commend that guy, man. what they need to counteract that is like a Moto2 rider, a fresh face, someone who's willing to get out there just like Maverick and push that bad boy, get data, and probably ride it faster than it's supposed to go.
Yeah, so the rumor...
They're probably going to put Johan Zarco on that next year.
You think?
Or fuck, maybe even Tito, man, trying to get respect. You know what I mean? Like Roddy Dangerfield out there, man, he can't get no respect. Get out in there, Aprilia, take the factory seat, and really work your ass off, and hopefully see the fruits of your labor, within a year or so.
Well, so I heard the rumor that they're actually looking at Sam Lowe's. So do you think that...
I think that's a great choice.
I would agree.
Because he's one of those riders that's fast when everything goes right, fast as hell when everything goes right. But
and one of those riders that when things don't go right, he doesn't give a fuck. He just still goes. He might crash out, but he's going to go hard, and that's what they need. Someone who wants to get out there and go hard day in and day out. I think Sam Lowe's is a great choice for them. They could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I can live with Sam Lowe's on that second Aprilia, but I still say that Zarco would be a smarter choice for Aprilia if they had to choose between the two.
I mean, he's a little older. He's obviously more consistent, and
the other thing, Zarco's just been around for a long time. Sam Lowe's is on more of an upswing than I think Zarco's not on an upswing as much as he's kind of settled into his place in Moto2, kind of like Tom Luthi. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see Zarco as someone who's gonna really take that step in GP as much as someone who's found his place in the intermediate class.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Zarco's 24. Zarco and Lowe's are actually the same age.
I'm not
like
saying
Kevin
he's
said,
old. I just mean it just seems like Sam Lowe's is on a stronger upswing.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is only his he hasn't been in the championship very long. It's only his second full season.
Right.
So, like, Zarco is finally kind of showing where he's at, and if Zarco stayed next year, I would hope that him and his team would have their shit together, and he could challenge for the Moto2 title at the very least.
And remember, Sam Lowe's is basically doing right now in Moto2 what we're talking about what he needs to do in MotoGP. He's riding one of the only speed-ups on the grid. He's basically testing and riding and working direct with them. And, it's not like Zarco who's on, the 36 other Calixes that are on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know if Zarco. Well, I'm sure when the season first started, I bet you he wasn't like one of Calix's preferred riders where they do all the testing. But I bet you he is now.
Yeah, it's an interesting middle ground for Moto2 the last couple of years. It feels like there's kind of a dearth of high-end talent. We're in kind of a holding pattern in that. You know what I mean?
Well, what do you mean? How would you combine those two together? So they're all talented, but we have to wait on them to see which one's better?
No, what I mean is, like, I felt like you had a good hunk of people come out, Marquez, Iannone, come from Moto2, and then, Redding, Pole, a couple of the Moto2 guys have been kind of, has kind of the feel like it's not there's no phenoms in Moto2 right now. You know what I mean? Maverick was Moto2's next phenom. I mean, undoubtedly he'd be probably leading the title chase right now if he was in Moto2. He just jumped a year early. Yeah,
I mean, well, that's why everyone is like, Tito and Zarco are up there, but everyone is still kind of looking at Rins of like, hey, like this is the next phenom for this class.
Right, exactly, and I think that's totally true. I think Rins is that guy. I just think he needs another. I don't think he's the talent level of Maverick where he can do the single year and move up. I think he needs another year to refine.
Yeah, I agree that the next year would do him really well in that class, and he'd probably just win half the races, and whether or not he won the title, it would probably still get him ready for moving up to GP.
Right. But then by then you move up in the year when there need to be multiple satellite bikes from new factories.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, we're going to miss out on so much silly season this year, but we're going to make up for it next year.
Right. I mean, Nicky's contract is up. Like, who even wants to go to that Aspar production Honda? Like, who wants that ride? That's a ride to nowhere.
Yeah.
That will lead you to nothing. That's someone who wants a paycheck. You know what I mean? It's just like, you got to think, like, for me, Aspar, like, the Honda production thing experiment was a total failure. And they got to be thinking, shit, can we get some Suzukis?
I think Honda's fine with it being a failure because I think they're looking at the 2017 rules and they're just going like, oh, well, no one's going to buy them and we can stop losing money on them.
Right.
But I have to wonder how the third tier bikes for any of the factories are going to work out with moving to Michelin's, because like you change tires, that's when you need to really revamp the chassis. So it's not like you can give the forward team the chassis that Bradley and Pole are on right now and expect it to work great on the tires. Like, sure, the during the test, they're still getting really close to lap records when they're testing the Michelins, but that doesn't mean that bike is going to be good over race distance. And a lot of people have been tucking the front, and you know for a fact that the factories are going to be looking to fix that dramatically. So the open bikes, the third tier bikes next year, could be complete shit if they get hand-me-downs again.
Yeah, I mean, it could be real rough if we're just like, hey, here's a GP 14.3, write it. You know what I mean? Like
that would definitely be the worst case scenario for Barbara. That would be so bad.
Yeah,
It's like a bike that we already knew was terrible on new tires that probably won't work at all, and just here, go ride it. But you have experience with the software. You'll be fine.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh, now you're the one yawning.
I yawned like a mofo just then.
All right, guys. Do we have any other silly season to talk about?
Not me.
No?
No, I think we kind of fell into it. It wasn't really a plan so much, but for me, the whole grid needs a cleansing. There's a good 5 or 6 guys who just gotta go. You know what I mean? It's just time to get. I mean, Hayden's gotta go. As much as I hate to say it, but it's time to move on, man. The guy's been there for like 15 fucking years.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much like the majority of the people, even the third tier riders, have contracts. Yeah, Nikki doesn't. I'm not sure about Laverty. I'd bet you that Baz has a contract. I know Jack Miller does. Barber.
Yeah, where's Miller even going to go?
Where's Miller going to go?
Like, what's he going to ride? Is he just like, here's another year on the production Honda?
Oh, I can't see it being anything but. Like, even if he miraculously doubles his point total and wins like the open class, there's no way he's getting a satellite ride. Like, they're not going to kick Cal out for a guy that gets 15th place on the open Honda.
Right, but I don't know, man. If you look at the hair game, it's on point.
Oh, the mullet. The hair doesn't work for Karel Haneke. That kid, he's been saying that he'll cut it off when he finally gets a win or a podium. I think a podium, and he's still.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Jack doesn't need to cut it. He can keep it going.
Right, no, it's solid.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the rest of the guys, like, there's been rumors that Abraham is going to go to Superbike.
Yeah, it's time for him to move on, man. Like, that team, it's ready. They're there because of, Bruno and his dad and all that, but it's time for them to move on and let some other team have a ride.
Yeah, I mean, and that ride just might entirely dissolve. Like, the team probably will just bounce entirely and will be one less on the grid, which I think is what Dorna wants. They only want 24.
Right.
So that'll kind of give them their number, which could work. Well, it'll work out for them, but I don't see why they need to cut it at 24. But I guess it doesn't matter because we don't really watch the back of the grid anyway. Like, the good battles kind of stop at top 10.
The actual battles, yeah. I mean, once you get past 10, 11, 12, the guys aren't really battling much anymore.
Yeah, well, and they're not going to show them to us, but it's all good.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Demecchio like has to go. They have to get. There is no possible way they're going to keep him around another year. There's got to be someone better.
Yeah, he's been a disaster.
I just don't know like what motive.
Wait a minute, which team is he even on?
He's on Avintia. He's their second Ducati open bike.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that guy.
Yeah, and
no one ever talks about it. It's funny. People forget there's a shitload of Ducati. I mean, at Mugello, there was like 7 Ducatis.
Yep. Yeah, with Piro in there too. Yep.
Yeah. My ninja.
And DeMeglio, like Barbara has arguably the best open class software setup because Ducati helped. And DeMeglio's on the same electronic setup, but I think he might be one like iteration of 14 point whatever behind, but it doesn't matter. Like he should not have only 2 points. Like he should be up there like battling with Baz and Bautista for like 14th and 15th like every race, but he's not. So I mean, I have to imagine that team will be able to find someone else that could ride the bike better and still do it for free, because there's no way he's getting paid. But I don't know. We'll find out. The silly season is going to be long. The summer break now here is going to.
Oh God, the summer break is the worst.
Yeah. Do you guys think that maybe in 2 weeks we'll have something else to talk about? Maybe some crazy stuff will happen at the Superbike race, or the
Rob could totally win his race.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah,
Dennis is gonna be his umbrella boy in some hot fucking short shorts. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah,
why do you think I got that leg tattoo, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I shaved my legs, yo.
You gotta be like, didn't one of the chicks in Moto2 have an umbrella boy with like no shirt and like a big tribal tattoo across the chest?
Well, he had a big tribal tattoo? That's cool. Was he listening to Limp Bizkit?
Spiky hair. No, he was Italian. He couldn't be in Limp Bizkit. Maybe.
That's true.
I don't know.
Dude, Italy actually has, like, it's funny because they're like the design center of the world and stuff like that. They have the worst taste in like pop music, pop culture, all that. I mean, just hideous. You go to Italy, man, and there are stashes and V-necks just everywhere, and not like the good V-necks, the like 5 inches too deep of a V-neck.
That sounds right up your alley, Kev.
Oh, that's what I'm wearing right now. Don't get me wrong, and I have a stash right now. But
yeah, I'm a little sad that you're not coming out to Laguna this weekend. A little sad.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know you're not. It's okay. Dennis will keep me company.
There you go.
Yeah, so I guess general admission now includes paddock passes. So you.
What?
Yeah.
Because like 8 people are going.
Yeah, no. General admission, like a ticket includes parking and a paddock pass now. So you essentially just come hang out with me in the garage if you want to.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
maybe I'll go now and just surprise you guys.
Whatever. I'll have my computer, so maybe we'll record a little blurb of an episode or something.
That'd be cool.
But
we gotta try and get like some racer on it.
That would be.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah. Did you?
No, like a real one.
Yeah. Like a full-time racer that has a chance to win 3 points.
That can qualify.
Yeah. No, they changed it to 110%. I'm totally in. Totally.
Oh, you're all good.
Yeah.
107 was cutting it close.
It was cutting it close. That was gonna be tough. Kev, didn't you?
What race are you actually in?
Superstock 600. So nice. Saturday.
And what's your number? So all of our faithful listeners, all 6 of them, can root for you.
Yeah, I'm 513, red and yellow number plate, of course. I'm probably gonna be the only guy out there on a Honda because I'm an idiot. And yeah.
Go on.
And I mean, that's it. And I will be somewhere towards the back of the grid, dicing it up with the guys I normally race with in Wera, most likely.
Nice.
So hopefully it'll be good times. If anyone sees me on TV, like take a screenshot or something, or not TV on.
Yeah, screen capture that shit. If you're streaming that, home buttons and sleep button at the same time, clickety clack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably try and record my own race on my computer if the internet can.
Right, just like this.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. My phone was on silent. God damn it. Well, the moment's gone.
Fail.
It's over.
All right.
The moment's gone.
We've dragged this on long enough.
All right.
Closing thoughts? Anyone? No?
Looking forward to Yannone at the flyaway races. I think something special is going to happen over the summer, over the break, and they're going to have some stuff. And I think Ducati's coming on strong.
And I look forward to the Danny Pedrosa win that I am counting on.
One or two, Dennis. Just one?
No, I said he would at least get one. I have faith.
Motegi?
I don't really care.
You don't care. All right.
No, I feel like he has it in him still.
I agree with you there. I still think Dovi's going to have a comeback race eventually. It's going to
No,
happen.
for sure.
Maybe
I'd say the same
Silverstone.
thing.
Silverstone on the box. Second.
Nice.
There.
Oh, looking forward to a rain race. A legit rain race. I want dumping, pouring, rain pouring down. I really, really, really want a rain race. We haven't had a good rain race in a couple seasons.
Maybe another hurricane at Indianapolis?
No, I don't want a race that's canceled over it.
Touche.
You want like Malaysia 2 years ago.
Right, I'm not that much of a masochist. I don't want to get beat up. I just want just slap me around and tell me I'm a slut.
What, like Aragon last year? Like something crazy like that?
Something like that. I guess that's what he's talking about. Yeah, Aragon.
That's a solid rain race, dripping wet rain. Like racing in the rain, not a wet but drying track, not weird practice and stuff. Just I want to start when it's raining and mist and spray on the cameras and rain the whole race.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's hope that happens.
Yes.
All right,
I hope
everyone.
that happens.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
And don't get too bored over your summer break. Watch World Superbike this weekend to take your mind off it, and we will catch you later.
And Superstock 600.
And Superstock 600 on Fan.
Bike 513.
Thanks, Kev.
Right. Let me get a plug in there for him.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening.
All right. Later.
Peace.